Part
literally
3.
sitting with my lips like curled inside of my mouth to prevent me from disobeying God. And so he finished saying what he had to say. He beating his chest and not literally, but he's puffed up in his chest and he walks away. And I don't say anything. And he comes back, I kid you not, a good 20 minutes later. Because bless that man of mine, he was a man of pride. And sorry was not his immediate thing. He comes back 20 minutes later and he gave me the most sincere apology. And I felt like that was the apology for all apologies because of the words he spoke, the accountability he took, and the sincerity of his apology. If I was not obedient to God, I would have never received what I needed without allowing there to be some kind of room for Him to lead, room for Him to figure it out with God. The benefits, the conclusions, the best outcome would not have occurred. When the Lord told me be quiet, He told me He's going to come back and give you an apology because I'm going to speak to Him. I was like, all right, we going to see. Because if that joker don't apologize tonight, I'm liable to say some things. But lo and behold, I passed the test. What am I saying? I'm telling you, okay? And I'm not telling you my marriage to apply to your marriage. I'm not telling you what I did so that you would apply it to your marriage. I'm telling you this. Let him figure out the benefits of hitting the spiritual gym. Let him buy a membership to Sonship Fitness, okay? Obviously, there's something to it because you're praying and fasting and following the lead of the Holy Spirit within your own relationship with God, and things are getting done. Your husband, the one who has decided that you are his wife in his mind, he's a witness to what's taking place between you and God. He sees it and he knows that it's because you and God go deep. Your husband, though, he's not your constant audience. And I'm going to tell you, he is so sick of you telling him what God told you in prayer and your next idea and what you discovered while he's out of sync with God. Tell somebody who needs to hear it. YouTube needs to hear it. Your women's ministry needs to hear it. The girls in the group home, they need to hear it. The mothers in the domestic violence shelter, they need to hear it. The sister you refuse to talk to needs to hear what God told you, okay? The only thing hubby wants to hear from you is how can I help you in here so you can be the best builder out there tending to the dream, out there navigating the world of faith and favor and ease instead of sweating from the brow. In turn, the only thing he will want to do is everything and anything you want so he can hear those things, those kind things from you, so he can be next to you, so he can enjoy the youth within his wife. You're not his teacher. God is. You're not his pastor. God is. You're not his mama or his daddy. God is both of them for him too. You are his dream birther, his help meet. And if you stay, you're soft on the outside but aggressive on the inside self, off his throne, he will admire the beauty of it. He will become curious about it. He will ask God about the purpose of it, and he will sit in it. Do your job and let him do his, and watch God bless both of you instead of just you with your Terry Crews in the spirit looking south. How is he supposed to compete with Terry Crews in the spirit? You be that strong when enforcing the laws of God, okay? Be that strong in the spirit against the devil and the works of the kingdom of darkness, not against your husband. He got to metamorph into someone he was never supposed to be in order to be with you. If he wanted a man, he'd be with one. So you have to stop acting like one and nonetheless a better one than he is. Because in order to be a better man, you got to be less of a woman at the same time. I know. I know he's taking too long. I know he's too slow. I know you don't want to halfway believe in him anyhow. But taking the reins of leading him is why you're worn out now. If you just focus on birthing the dream, you don't have time to lead him. You only have time to redirect him to seek the Lord. He will lean on God. He will learn of God. He will draw nearer to God because he sees the dream starting to poke out in you. And when it arrives, when the dream is fully manifested, it will be bigger than he imagined. It will require more than he thought. He will be bigger than he anticipated, and he will recognize that he needs God even more than the last time you told him he needs Jesus. Of course, you don't abandon him. You give him what God gives you to give him, but leave the job of leading unanswered. Wife, woman, leave the job of leading unattended. Leave it messy. I know we get bothered by it, but don't touch it. It might take 3 days or 3 months, but the same way your husband is supposed to make room for you to create. You, wife, are supposed to make room for him to build what he had in mind. And he can't do that if he does not have the opportunity to lead. You are the inoculator of his deepest imaginations. If you start letting what you have in mind about his dream take precedence over what he has in mind about his dreams, he will rarely, if not ever, share his dream with you again. He may not dream at all. He will be reluctant to be vulnerable with you. And you'll begin to think, I have a man with no ambition, no motivation, no confidence, and no dreams, when the reality is that he has no ambition with you, no motivation with you, no confidence around you. And he has dreams, but he just won't share them with you. This is why men can be with a woman for years, never marry them. Or maybe they did marry them. Break up or divorce from that woman, get another woman for, for 2 days, okay? Marry her and become everything you ever wanted him to be when he was with you. She can be the ugliest thing to you. That doesn't matter. How you see her never matters when she's married to the man you've always wanted. What matters is not even how he sees her. I know they say beauty is in the eye of the beholder, and I get that. But what matters in this type of case is how he sees himself in her. Can he deposit his dreams in her because he is his dreams? Can he be vulnerable with her and still be perceived as the man of strength so he can draw strength? Because when he tried to be vulnerable with you, you called him weak and got turned off. Can he be at a low point and still be perceived as the highest man after God in her life? Because when he was low with you, you kicked him when he was down. And a lot of women, a lot of wives feel like, well, if I don't tell him the better way to do it or beat the idea into his head, then he's going to make a mess of things. And then I have something else to clean up. I have enough to do. The last thing I want to do is clean up after a grown man. And I just want to tell you this, you can clean it up or not clean it up then, okay? But I do want to point out that we will clean up for our kids, including the grown ones, especially them sons. We will clean up for our sisters, parents, friends, the job, the ministry. But the place it counts most, you all of a sudden don't want to clean up mess. You would want to clean it up if you took back the energy from cleaning up the lives of everyone else Those peoples, those places, those things are God's children and responsibility, just like you are God's child and responsibility. And if you let those people, those places, those things see God for who He can be to them by moving out of the way, then you'd be able to handle the dream of the one, the man He gave you. And then you know what else you'll see? You'll see that those people, those places, those things that you were so devoted to didn't need you anyway. It was just easier and convenient to have you do it. It was easier to misuse your car, your money, your body, your spirit, your time, your energy. They can't see God for themselves because they're constantly seeing you, idle woman. And being an idol, IDOL, to them is causing you to be idle, IDLE, with your creativity. Cleaning up when your companion, when your husband makes a mess of things while figuring out how to lead is where you get the opportunity to instill wisdom. And how you present that wisdom is everything. It determines whether he will actually listen and value your input ahead of time next time. So if you're nasty while you straighten out the mess, he will be reluctant to operate in partnership and nonetheless operate vulnerably with you. What do you want from him? You want him to lead, you want him in sonship. He finally goes to figure it out or is figuring out the next level of sonship, but he can't ever make a mistake along the way of figuring it out. He has to build, manage what he builds, worship the Lord, be vulnerable, which might be a risk of being castrated considering who he's with. He has to love you the way you need him to and be infallible too. Your husband, the one who has his mind made up that he has found a wife in you, okay, is God's son. He is not your son and he is not your God. There is a space within you that is only reserved for the Father, and it should never be occupied by anyone nor anything, not even your husband. The same way you shouldn't sit in your man's seat, your man's throne, is the same way he shouldn't be sitting in the Father's seat within you. Your job is to birth the dream and create. You know, these days, everyone is talking about soft life and everyone wants to return to their femininity. There are books and podcasts and spells and rituals and all kinds of crafts to return to the soft life and femininity. But what you need is a canvas and a paintbrush and an Etsy shop. What you need is a sewing machine to create the dress that you have in mind, or at least find one that you love to wear. And if you don't feel like you should be wearing it because of the body you're in, then you can go ahead and create a body you love in the gym until you get to wear the dress. Create the latest hairstyle trend. Create a new scent. Begin to live your life with creativity that makes you live, that makes you come alive instead of exist. Then you're going to automatically be right in the groove of your femininity. Your husband wants a wife, not a witch. And even, let's just say, he got some Ahab on him. Even if he wants a witch, he still wants to be the exception to the rules of your manipulation. When you create, you'll glow and easily return to softness, easily create soft spaces. And when he sees what you created, he will be inspired to deposit his dream into you so that he can build with vigor to completion. Your best way to help is in creating and birthing. And when you're doing both, you don't have time to say anything except what's intentional for the sake of building. Your words pierce in an effective way instead of a destructive way. Now, if you identify with this in any way, you don't have to make an announcement that you're vacating the throne, okay? Because sometimes you get off and then you get back on and then you get off and then you get back on until you get off for good. Just start creating. You don't have to worry about treating him like a man, making him lead, no manipulation tactics at all. Just focus on creating. Actions speak louder than words. And when he comes to you after you start creating and he feels like, okay, it looks like it's safe, when he comes to you with a peek into his vision again, take it and birth it. I don't care if he say he want to bag flies and sell them. Baby, create the best plastic baggie and let him go out there, catch those flies and sell them. All right. The only way you say no is if it violates the vow he made to be Christ like, or if it puts you out of daughterhood with the Father. That's the only way you say no. People, the order still works. Women, wives, leave the throne and the crown to your husband. Let him know how good it looks on him. Let him see you keeping the seat open, because if he doesn't sit in it, this is what I love about God, because he won't let you miss out. If he don't ever sit in that seat, or if he takes a longer time than God will prefer to sit in that seat, God is going to do some things that's going to rub him the wrong way. Like, God will send a different son, no romance intended, okay? God will send a different son to clean off your car before you left for work. You tell that man, I came outside in my neighborhood who is single or married. Men don't care. They'll say it quickly. I trust you. I don't trust them, okay? When you tell that man of yours, that husband of yours, oh, my neighbor cleaned off my car this morning, I bet he don't ever stay in his bed when it snows again. And if he does, you might see him as husband, but you need to find out if his mind is still made up about you being his wife, because husbands don't do that. Okay. As I was saying, your cousin call herself sending you flowers, and your whole face lights up to tears because it was just what you needed. And he watches you, your husband watches you emit an emotion that he hasn't seen in years. Then he comes and, and he's looking, he's like, oh, that's nice. I didn't know you like flowers like that. Why is he saying that? Because he wants to be the recipient of that joy, and he wants in on being the cause of it. I'm quite sure he will figure out how to see that smile again. God will start bringing people and places and things together right in his face to turn him in the direction of the throne. No manipulation, no gloating, no boasting or bragging needed from you. Just stay in daughterhood, keep creating, and keep that throne seat empty. Here's the thing. Here's the thing, though. Here's the other thing, because there's a lot of here's the things in this episode. But here's the other thing. If he brings home a rose, don't act like he brought home a dozen. Don't act like he picked it out on the side of the road either. Be genuine in considering his thoughtfulness toward you and respond accordingly, because he's going to take note that you didn't necessarily look unhappy, but you didn't necessarily look like you did when, the flowers from your cousin came. And then here comes the creativity in him figuring you out. But if you're not creating, then more than likely you have nothing new for him to discover. You have nothing new for him to find out, which means you haven't changed. And no man wants to change for the better in sonship and then be with a woman who's still the same. You don't want him to change for the better in sonship and be the same either. I'm wrapping up. Woman, vacate the throne. Man, take a seat and wear your crown. Wife, take off that crown and leave it in the hands of the King of Kings. Express the creativity the Father placed within you for the soft life that Jesus restored you to. Husband, lead by example and take your rightful place as first. Come from out of the cursed ground. You don't belong there. Enter into sonship by making God your first priority and ask Him, what do you want me to build? Ask the Father to show you how to wear that robe, how to put on that crown, how to hold it up, to ask Him how to sit on the throne. And wives, know that God will deal with His character as He shows him how to go from a life of grind to a life of reigning in ease. If you remember one thing, everything will line up when the man operates as first and when the woman is creator. I challenge you to share this with your spouse. Share this with the one who has decided in his mind that you are his wife. Share this with the one who has accepted your decision, and go over your marriage and see where things are out of order. Go before God and ask Him how to put things back in order, and watch things begin to fall into place. I love you with the love of the Lord, and I am cheering for your success as you vacate the throne, wives, as you take your seats, husbands. In Jesus' name, amen.